Hello everyone, I am Tacit, and today I'm going to be going over the Gems of War City of Thieves faction as of the new Deep Delve variant. So this is a blue-purple faction associated to that of Leonis Empire. This is actually the first time, I would say definitively, that the Deep Delve version of a faction is far worse than what it originally had. Basically, it kept the same amount of treasure rooms, one right over here, and one right over here, which we actually can't see. We can see a little bit better if we see it on the other fight. If we go over to the actual mode itself, we can see it right here. As you can see, treasure room, and treasure room. So basically, you want to go and rush out the tier 5 to get your multiplier, take out all the rooms leading up to it, which would be these three, and then go take your treasure rooms. So you would go straight there, or if you're going straight for the end, just go to the end, but go straight there, take out these two, and then take the treasure rooms. So go straight there, those two, 3 treasure rooms, good to go. And then again, of course, take out the boss. So this is a way worse layout than what it originally had. So actually, I would need to go do a fight real quick to go show the other one. But if we go check right underneath this battle, we can see what the original one was right over here. So of course, if you want to do deep delve, it costs the same as usual, 10,000 gold, 2 of your little sigil thingies. But we're going to be trying the lower one real quick, just to show the original format. So this was notoriously one of the best locations in the entire game for farming. Main reason being is if there's a Cedric room, you can take it immediately. So right here, oh, we didn't get it. It's possible to be on a tier 2. Of course, we get the 2 that aren't. But you can get a Cedric immediately, take it, get the multiplier that you get from all the extra gold, and then take it for every single one. And it only affects the battle gold, but you get so much from it that it's still so much extra gold. It also had the advantage of having a lot of guaranteed tier 5s and 4s. Like everything was tier 5 and 4. Tier 5 over here, tier 5 over here, tier 4 over here, tier 4 over here. So it was able to rack up a lot of multiplier. And then you went to go take the 3 treasure rooms. Ideally, one of them being Cedric, which unfortunately didn't get here. But you would take the Cedric first and take the other ones. Though in this case, we would take the tier 5s and the tier 4s. Then just basically do them in multiplier order for the other ones if you didn't get a Cedric for the 3 treasure rooms. But this layout was really, really good for overall loot. I think it's still one of the best, if not the absolute best. It's definitely top 3, that's for sure, as far as like overall loot factions. But yeah, it's kind of sad to see that the Deep Delve is substantially worse. Like, it was a high bar for them to be able to make one better, but wow, did they make one very, very worse than what it was. So, a little unfortunate there. To speak about things that are worse, the new troop doesn't really do much in the faction or outside of it. It destroys all purple gems, so destroy, you do get the mana accumulation for that, so at least that's good. And then the only follow-up to that is it gets to gain a little bit of gold for each gem destroyed. The amount is pretty much 0. He does have the extreme greed like everything does here, and that little bit of merchant. But you're never really going to use this. It doesn't have enough follow-up. It needs at least one additional thing here. Just destroying all purple is not going to be even remotely enough value. So yeah, he's basically just going to be for collection purposes. He does technically raise the star of Leonis Empire, but of course, like many factions right now, or kingdoms right now, it is restricted by how many deeds we have in the game, so it'll be staying at level 26 for quite a while. Though it can make it a little bit easier to reach 10 star, 20 star, whatever other milestone you might be going for. Anyways, let's go now into all of the teams for the good old faction event. So if we go over to our team build, start all the way from the top, all of which are in the description below if you want to go and copy paste any of them. Of course, with a blue-purple restriction, we have ourselves a good old classic of just Rowanne. Just build your entire team around Rowanne. You get it for free from Forest of Thorns Kingdom. Always great to use. Leprechaun, Empower to feed at full mana. Mirage Queen for the 50% mana start, which if you don't already have it, you can get it by throwing Chaos Shards at the Sunken Fleet faction. And of course, just a hero with anything. You can also use any hero class here, though Archer will allow us to get a little bit of Green Storm, half mana star and everything. However, you can also just level whatever hero class you still need to go get EXP on. It'll work out perfectly fine. Both of these are technically a low rarity one, so I said low here, but both of them are basically low rarity. If anything, the Rowanne build is actually slightly lower rarity than this, due to the faction legend being a little bit easier to get than Tesla. However, worth mentioning, you can just go all in Tesla this time around. Of course, a hero weapon is allowed to be any color for factions, despite quite a few other modes having it so your weapon has to be the right color. For factions, you can still run whatever, so you can just run Riskia Shield or whatever other colored thing you want. Riskia Shield, of course, being for the barrier and more importantly the armor. The armor to make Tesla's armor do even more boost ratio across the entire team. And you just do a ridiculously high amount of damage scaling on not only your own team's armor, but also the enemy team's armor. You just keep casting that until you win. You can go double Tesla. You can pretty much do anything you want. And with that kind of structure. And of course, Thrall Leprechaun can also be synergized with any kind of damage source you have, where you run tank in first slot, Thrall, Leprechaun, and then some kind of damage source. In this case, Tesla being our main damage source. And you can technically run this all the way to 500 too. Tesla never falls off, so if you want to run single Tesla, double Tesla, you can go all the way to 500 with it this time around. As far as the standard level 100, 500 team, we still have ourselves Irongut, Zuul'goth, of course. Thrall, Leprechaun, just standard mana accumulation. Once again, you can kind of do any structure with this. Big tank up front, Thrall, big damage source, Leprechaun, and you're good to go, based on what you have access to. And of course, you can trade one out for here if you still need class XP. Most likely Irongut in that situation. And lastly, for the slightly lower one, we can do a modified version of a Seekra team. Of course, Seekra being infinite loop purple. Doing it with this is trying to get a little bit extra magic. If we go check our bonuses here, we get some magic for 4 times elf. We get some magic for 3 times old carry, 2 times over. So you can get a little bit extra magic there in order to do more damage per poke. And just keep poking them down. You have the little backup poke as well with the Death Kneel with the auto extra turn. And yeah, just keep doing that. You do have access to some AoE, however, that won't really be casting. You're mostly just going to be spamming Seekra and the weapon until they all go down. And it's pretty much the game plan there. As far as the pure faction, it is just 3 troops. It is King of Thieves, the Street Thief, and Tome Robber. If we go check our entire list, we can see right over here, by clicking over to City of Thieves, all 5 of the faction troops. Of course, we have this useless thing that came in. Cat Burglar does a little bit of damage, but doesn't have enough follow-up or anything to really be worthwhile. And that just leaves us with 3 troops then. King of Thieves, what he does, he deals some damage to an enemy, and then gain 3 to all skills boosted by my gold. So of course, as you get more gold, you'll be able to go and get a substantial amount of skills. The reason we have 2 is to make sure, in case he happens to die prior to the prior to the final fight, you want to make sure that your team going into the final is 1 King of Thieves, 1 Street Thief, and 1 Tome Robber. As long as you have that, you'll be good to go. You can double up for extra speed or extra damage to go double Street Thief, or even probably a little bit better, double Tome Robber. However, this does make it so if your King of Thieves dies, you basically lost the run, as you do need him for the final fight. Unless you have some really high stats, you might be able to get away with it without it. But you really need him constantly gaining stats for that, so you have enough tankiness to actually survive. And then you just do your mass mana accumulation off of this, steals a bunch of gold from the enemy, creates a bunch of purple, and then you use that purple to keep spamming King of Thieves, and to use Tome Robber's skull spam, which is one of the reasons why you might want to double up on it potentially. You can get up to pretty easily 14 skulls, and then you have 2 things that can grade 14 skulls instead of 1. However, having at least 1 is still perfectly fine, as will be enough to hold down the line as far as your damage and make sure that they don't end up getting too many of the skulls, since on your turn, instead of casting it again, you can simply just take whatever spare skulls there are to make sure that the enemy doesn't get them, as they might be hitting harder than you, depending on what your stats are relative to them, especially if you haven't got your King of Thieves upgraded, which is one of the whole reasons why you kind of want to do this, because if your Tome Robber does miss slightly, or even completely, there's a chance it just completely straight up misses. You just give the enemy like 3 skulls, your King of Thieves is dead. So it's mostly just a safety precaution for when she inevitably misses with 14 skulls somehow. Because it will happen. Zuul'goth misses plenty of times with 12. Doesn't feel like it because he gets freeze, but he does miss pretty often. And even though 14 is slightly higher, that still misses quite often as well. But anyways, guys, that's the full rundown on the new City of Thieves. Overall, it is basically a downgrade in every way. Never do the deep delve. Kind of sad to see, because I was kind of hoping that would be like a super mega place to farm, but nope. The standard version is still ridiculously good, and the deep delve is absolutely nothing. New troop is pretty much just for upgrading, and it just leaves all the normal teams of blue-purple to go and take out the faction. The event, of course, lasts all weekend, today, tomorrow, and Sunday. Best of luck if you're going to be completing it. If you still have any other questions, feel free to leave a comment section below. All of the teams in the description. I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend.